Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Kyle. This is Kyle by the Creek. I'm thoroughly enjoying the overlap in projects and videos that's been going on lately. So I haven't posted the video quite yet, but I did post this for sale on Marketplace and immediately got a bunch of hits. And someone wants to trade in their walk behind. I think it's an Exmark 54-inch, something kind of big. There might be some engine problems, but I took $100 off my price here and I'm going to deliver it about 10 minutes away. So that's a great deal, I think. So yeah, say goodbye to the Honda Harmony. Hopefully you enjoyed that video, and let's get in an Exmark and work on that thing. There we go. Well, what a beautiful day. It's the next day and I got this thing off my trailer, obviously, and I've just been testing it a little bit to see what it's all about. So let me give you a rundown again of what the seller said was wrong with this thing. So he actually had it listed on Facebook Marketplace for I think $300 and no one had bought it. I looked at it really quick, the listing, when he was here testing my Honda Harmony. I don't remember what the description said, but I think it was very short, like burns oil, you know, doesn't run right or something like that. So no one was buying it with that, for good reason. And you know, he fired it right up at his house and loaded it onto my trailer for me. And you know, I got it off the trailer, the thing starts up, so I decided to give it a try to mow with it. So it does mow. You know, you got your electric PTO. This is kind of interesting, like this is like your forward, this is like your speed, okay? And if you depress the handles, it will return it to slow and it'll go in reverse. So as you turn, you just squeeze one of these and it'll turn. This seems to be like a safety, so you have to, it kind of runs without the safety, but you could tell it's weird. It like runs a little better with this, but it doesn't, like, it's not like it shuts off or prevents anything if this isn't depressed. I don't know, definitely something up with this, but this is a safety and then you're supposed to be able to go. Anyhow, when it mows, it smokes and it does not have power. And I'll show you guys what I mean. I'll put it on the tripod here, and you know, I think I figured it out based on some inspection, but I'll give you guys a chance because I know that will be fun for some of you all. Well, the key switch is a little finicky, but yeah, you can hear and see it's smoking, and especially when you engage the PTO, it runs even worse. It doesn't have a lot of power. All right, let's take an inspection so you guys can tell me, I knew it, I knew it. All right, I'll basically give you the answer by saying this thing's a twin cylinder. All right, here's one of the valve covers. It's hot, it's oily. Take a look at this valve cover. It looks nice. It's cold. The spark plug is cold. All right. This guy's running on one cylinder. You know, there's other things that, like it could be, dirty fuel filter looks pretty bad, but not the worst thing I've ever seen. And it could be a carb issue, and it could be, you know, low compression or, you know, rings are shot or worn or something, but you got to start at the most obvious thing, right? So we got to pop that. Go get him, trooper. Well, we got to pop that spark plug out and see if this thing one has spark, see if the piston moves up and down. It could be that one of those coils lost spark. That would be unbelievable and a super easy fix. And this thing, you know, I basically got it for, let's say, $120 off my asking price. 100 bucks plus, you know, maybe 20 bucks for delivery is the way I was trying to sell it to him. Which for something that nobody knows about and burns oil, it sounds like the engine might be on its way out. That's, I think, an okay price, I guess. So anyway, let's see if it's just a real simple fix. Gotta like how nice and easy it is to get to this side of the engine. You know, it's all carboned up. Well, I guess I first want to see, you know, if the piston moves up and down. Probably, I don't know if I have a way to manually do it. Might have to bump the key switch, but I'll unplug the spark plug boot on the other side so the engine doesn't fire off. Okay, there's your answer about the piston. We'll do that again. Yeah, so now the piston's on the top. And now, yeah, so piston moves, that's great. I bet this thing lost spark, so we'll, I don't know, I could even try a different spark plug because I don't have too much faith in that crusty thing. So let me see if I have another spark plug that I would think would be good. So I have a new spark plug and I tested it on the other spark plug boot and it definitely has spark, so we know this is a good spark plug. Let's just see if we have spark. Ooh, we do have spark. Okay, so we might have a bent push rod or something broken in the valves. It would have been actually a lot better if it was just lack of spark on this side. It could have been a dead spark plug, so why don't we still not jump to conclusions. Let me put this spark plug in and see if it fires off on 2 cylinders. How lucky would that be if it's just a spark plug? That's even better than a coil. Alright, I know that sounded terrible, but I actually fixed it, because here's what just happened there. It was running off of that cylinder because I left this undone. I might have just fixed this thing, guys. Alright, you want to hear it run on 2 cylinders? I definitely do. Seems like it was a bad spark plug. It's weird, it's not running off that cylinder correctly, so I think we have a valve problem there. I mean, we know it's not a connecting rod because this piston moves up and down. It has spark, it is firing. It's just like this side has low compression, so maybe we'll check compression you know, pretty easy to pop that valve cover off. I know we're getting there, but I have a compression tester. Might as well try it. Okay, I got the compression tester put in. A little hard to tell now because I wiped it off, but the spark plug was covered in oil, so that's not a good sign. But again, I have the boot off the other spark plug, so the engine's not going to fire. Let's just crank over the engine here and see what we have for compression. We're full throttle, so see if you can see. Okay, we have 127, 130 psi. Oh, that's not letting. There we go. But yeah, there's plenty of compression. Let's try that again. There we go. Well, let's try the other side. So we have good compression. Over here on the other side, here's the spark plug that was in that thing. It looks terrible. It's just all covered in soot. Anyhow, let's try it out. So it's a little less on this side, more like 120, maybe 115 to 120. So not bad though, has compression. So we'll try this again. I have both spark plug boots attached. Actually, I had put a new spark plug on this side too, so 2 new spark plugs. I don't know, see what happens here. This key switch is really weird. It's like sometimes it runs on that cylinder and then sometimes it doesn't. Several days later, but let's get back to this thing. So again, I pretty much have 3 or so ideas of what might be wrong with this. It's very overfull with oil mixed with gasoline. So I wonder if that might be an issue. I want to drain that out. You know, if there's so much liquid inside this engine, it's going up into the valves and the spark plugs and, you know, just fouling things up. We can try to solve that pretty easily. Still think it might be some valve issues, bent push rod, you know, seized up valve one way or the other, exhaust or intake. And then my other idea is a head gasket. So that's what we'll be doing. So let's drain the oil here. Got a 18 millimeter, and then I'll take that oil drain plug out. Whoa. Yeah. Oh, that didn't go well. Let's get some paper towels, try to clean up the grass a bit. Drain the oil, added some fresh oil. Let's give this another try. Sounds a little better. So it was starting to sound a little better there, but then the smoke came back, and then when I pulled the boot on the spark plug, it didn't really make a difference. So I guess we do have the dirty fuel filter. Let's swap in a fresh one now, see if that makes any difference. Okay, got a new paper filter in. I really doubt that any of this is going to be a magic fix, but let's give it a try. Okay, let's pop open that valve cover finally, see what's going on under there. See if we can try to catch some oil this time. So here's the muffler. I mean, I can touch it. It's hot though, but it's very strange. It's like it, I don't know. I think we have a stuck valve or a bent push rod. That's my guess right now. Besides the fact that they are on such a weird angle. Thought they were bent at first, but I think that's how they are. I mean, this is loose, but it's tight. Might be tough trying to turn this engine over by hand. Might just have to bump the key. Took the cover off the engine so I can spin that by hand. Alright, so had to dig for a gauge that was big enough. This is 30 thousandths, so obviously that's huge, so that's a problem. Everything I could look up said that these should be set to 6 thousandths, I think both of them, so which is pretty normal, like between 4 and 6. So I'm gonna set that, and then I'll check this one too and get those squared away. So I just set that valve correctly. This top one now is just about the same, 31 thousandths. So yeah, that could be why this isn't running on that cylinder. Okay, valve's all set. Let's try this again. Running on that cylinder a little better, but not perfect. Still smoking. And it doesn't sound right when you have a load on it. It's definitely not getting full power. I just took the carb off the engine just to eliminate this as a possible problem. So far everything looks really clean, but I haven't cracked into it, so let me get the bowl off here and see what it looks like on the inside. Well, that O-ring's all messed up. That's like clogging a jet. Wow. I don't know if you can see that. That's pretty interesting. Besides that, everything looks great. Wow. All right, let's pull that out and take a closer look. Yeah, that definitely got squashed, and it doesn't look like it can bounce back and recover. This looks fine, except it's got that condition where it's just a little too stretched out, so looks like we need a carb rebuild kit. But I do want to see if I can get this somewhat back together, keep this from clogging a jet, and see if we can get this thing to run better on 2 cylinders. Alright, I have the carb put back together. I actually had an O-ring to put in there, so that potentially could be fixed. The O-ring that goes around the bowl, I think I got it in there alright. So we'll just see. If need be, we'll get a kit. Let's see if we can make this work. And the carb's back on. Let's test this out. That sounds pretty good. I was just about ready to celebrate because I fixed this thing. I popped the belt cover off, and look at this. What's happening there? See if it runs better with that. So I ran it for just a second and the belt popped off, and you know, this part of the belt exposed itself. So yeah, something's been going wrong here. Now the other thing, you know, when I put this on, which looks like to be correct, it is rubbing on the red part of the frame there. And I just wonder if this is the wrong size belt, and this tensioner, you can see it's extended almost all the way. So something's not right under here. So we gotta figure that out. So check this out. So I had a thicker belt, 5/8 belt, and I had one that was a good size, and I rerouted this belt completely different so it doesn't rub on the frame there. Instead it goes on this side, and then you use the tensioner to tighten it that way. And when I did that, it snugged up against that idler there. So I think we got it. Let's fire it up again. I think we got it. Well, I think what's next is mowing with this thing. So let's fuel it up, check the oil again, and let's mow the lawn. my daughter's filming for us, so I'm going to demonstrate the machine and hopefully it holds up well. Weird. I guess we still have a key switch problem. Thought I had that sorted when you let go and then turned it off. It was seeming to work before, but thank you, dear. Nice filming. Well, minus the key switch, that was a flawless test run. Just mowed my whole lawn. Got it parked up here by the pressure washer. Let's get this thing cleaned up. Just check our belts real quick. Perfect. All right, let's clean her up. So I wanted to pop the cover off this engine to see if I can figure out the kill issue, and I think I did. It's like rotting off. That one's not even connected. So yeah, that's the problem there, likely. And I'm glad we're into this, because this is just jam-packed full of grass, and that's a dead mouse. So that's what we're doing here. So we definitely got to clear that out and find a way to get that kill wire back onto the coil. But hopefully we'll figure out here our key switch issue, because you know, I did have some connection and it would eventually kill, but yeah, that was some of the problem there. Topped off some fluid too, because they were both very low, and that one sucked down, so might add a little bit more to that one. But yeah, I think we're making out pretty good here. So I reconnected them and put a little dollop of solder right there, but you can see through the fins now. I'm really glad that we took this cover off. That could have been an overheating problem, could have caught on fire. This is not something you want to do when you sell machines, so glad we caught that one. Let's put this cover back on. We'll put all the bolts on, and we'll fire this up again and see if the key switch works better. The cover's put back on. I just realized that there's a line here that says cold, max or full cold. So I have this one over full. The other one's pretty good, but I'll siphon some of that out later. All right, let's try this out. There we go. That's how it's supposed to work. All right, we finally have a good kill switch. It's the next day, and believe it or not, I have not worked on this thing for that many days. I mean, I don't know how it's coming across on video, but I'm doing a lot of different projects and just coming back to this thing when I can. So I have been calling this thing an Exmark because that's what it was sold to me as, an Exmark. But this is a Ferris, and as far as I can tell, they're not the same thing. So from looking at this thing closely, although it's missing all of its labeling and there's no real serial number on this thing that I can find, there's one little tag underneath the belt cover, and if you punch in those numbers, it doesn't give you anything, but it does say that it's a Ferris. Anyway, it's a Ferris 52-inch commercial hydro walk behind, and I bet you haven't seen the grass catcher, but that came with it too. And you know, looking at these things online, I mean, these are going for $200, $250 just for the grass catcher. And as you can see, it fits on there perfectly. So this thing is turned into a real unit here. And as far as the engine goes, we know this is a Kawasaki, but it's a FH680V. It's a 23 horsepower twin. So that's pretty sweet. I actually didn't think it was that high rated. I thought it was more like 16, but I had that all wrong. But yeah, there's some numbers on the engine block back behind those hydro reservoirs. I think we can easily finish this thing up today. I have to sharpen the blade, so we'll get under there. I have to put on the oil filter because I bought one yesterday after I did the oil change. I know that's backwards, but we'll get, oh wow, it's a Kawasaki filter. So we'll get a new filter on there, and that looks pretty high up on the block, so I think I should be able to take that out without oil getting everywhere. What else do we need to do with this thing? Oh, I know what I need to tell you. So I've been editing the video, obviously, and watching myself work on this thing. I figured this, well, this sort of stuff figured itself out, but this is a safety. We knew that. It was acting really funny, right? But since I hooked up the kill wires to the 2 coils, this functions properly now. And now I understand what this does. So you got to forgive my ignorance, guys. You know, whatever. I don't know everything about everything. But so what this will kill spark if you let go of it. And you can't start it or use the PTO without keeping this pressed. So now that makes sense. You know, why this thing was like sort of sputtering when you would disengage it, and why sometimes it would run better or even run on 2 cylinders. Those 2 kill wires were like barely attached to the coils, and so it was trying to cut spark on one and trying to keep spark sometimes when you're doing this, but sometimes it wasn't able to keep spark. Just a big old mess, but really an easy fix. So, you know, again, I don't know how any of that's coming across on film, and obviously, you know, apparently it's kind of painful for people to watch me diagnose things. I don't mind showing you all the things that I don't get right. If I just edited all that out, it'd be a nice clean video and it'd be me like diagnosing everything perfectly, but I kind of walk you through the whole process. It doesn't mean that I'm an expert, but you know, hey, we're figuring it out here. So yeah, some of you probably noticed that from the beginning, like you knew what that was supposed to do, and you could tell that we were having some issues with the coils, but you know, I didn't know that. All right, let's do the last finishing touches on this thing and let's sell this. Got this propped up and the belt cover off. We're gonna grease this while we're in here. So you got a couple Zerk fittings on each of the main spindles. So we'll hit those. Zerk fittings here and here. Or anything else I can find, I'll hit. Then we have a 15/16 socket to zip these 3 off. These blades look amazing, but we'll sharpen them so we can say that they are sharpened. All right, let's get after it. So I guess I gotta get a wrench on this. Is this the best way to do that? I suppose so. Yeah, we just needed a wrench up top, and all 3 of those came out easily. So let's get them sharpened. And this is more for me, not for you, but this is how these spacers are oriented. 4 on top, 1 big washer underneath, and then the nut has also a big spacer washer that goes up on top like that. I just finished sharpening the blades. 2 of them are mounted, not tightened down, but let's get this 3rd one on, and then we'll get on to the grease points. and I hit all 3 of these. Just gotta clean it up a little bit. All right, we'll do a quick look for any others. A little Marvel mystery oil. We have a pretty nice and shiny machine. You know how much Facebook Marketplace loves red things. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. I gotta think about how much to list this for. So, I mean, at one point I was thinking $1,200. But I honestly think it's worth more, especially with the grass catcher. I don't know what it's going to sell for, and I definitely want to move it and sell it. I think I could easily list it for $1,800, but I don't think it's going to sell at $1,800. So, I don't know, maybe $15. I think that'd be a screaming good deal for somebody to score this for $15. This thing could get put into commercial use. It's probably a little better off used residentially, but yeah, this should be pretty desirable to a lot of people. It's not too big where you can't handle it at home. You know, 52 inches, that's a pretty nice size, and even a little small for commercial, but really not that bad. So it could go a lot of different ways. So let's get this thing posted for sale. Well, thank you everyone for watching the video. I hope you liked the way this thing turned out. This was basically $120 for me, and there were a lot of things wrong with it. I could see why the previous owner didn't know what to do with it. Just to recap some of the things, right? It was overfilled with oil and gasoline. It had one cylinder that wasn't firing correctly, had some valve issues there. We had fouled spark plugs. We had the coil wires were rusted off, or the mice chewed them, so that was a big problem. We had a belt that was wrong and off of one of the spindles. I don't know what else. There are probably other things, but that's a lot. That's a handful of things, especially for someone who doesn't know what they're doing. They would definitely post that for sale for cheap. But so I'm here in my living room editing the video for this, and as I watch my own outro, I realized that I forgot to mention the #1 cause for why that engine didn't run correctly. So it was this little O-ring, and I don't know if you could tell, it looks more like a D than it does an O, and that came right out of the carb, and that was blocking one of those jets. And from what I understand, you know, you have 2 jets in there, and they each, one goes to one cylinder, one goes to the other. So if one is clogged, you know, it's not going to run right. So I don't know how that slipped my mind in my outro, because that was the main reason. But glad we got that figured out. I'm going to get this listed today, and hopefully you see this being sold, and then maybe another machine coming as a trade-in as well. But thank you guys for watching. My name is Kyle. The channel is called Kyle by the Creek, and we'll see you guys next time.